These days, like I was mentioning in my other video, like there's so much of a shift happening that I feel like a lot of us can find ourselves in such a negative headspace. And once we get there, it is so hard to get out of that. When you are in a negative headspace, when you are thinking negative thoughts, you can overcome it. Whatever you're thinking at the moment, whatever it is that is making you feel you're worthless, that you can't go on, and it's just causing you to be in such a funk, you are in control of it all. That thought that came into your brain is because we spent so much of our day, majority of our lives with ourselves, whether that's in our car commuting somewhere, chilling out, watching something. I mean, sometimes you have people around you, you have family around you and stuff like that, but the majority of the time that we spend is with ourselves. And sometimes we end up consuming our minds with negative thoughts. And it's not only negative thoughts that we have, but it depends on the season. You know, sometimes things are just happening in our lives where we get into a space that is not nice, and it could be like money issues, it could be family issues. You could have just gone through something that just really hurt you. You just start to consume your brain with all this negativity, and it's so hard to get out of sometimes because now your actions are negative. The way you deal with people is negative. When you go to the store, when you see the cashier lady or you see somebody in the aisle, you're just not nice. And that's just an example, you know, just your interactions with people, the energy is just off. Now these habits just keep happening and happening and happening, and you're waking up and you're just this person that is consumed with all this negativity, and it's so hard to get out of it. When you start thinking negatively and you let the negative thoughts consume you, then it's like a ripple effect. But you have to remember that it's okay to fall into those spaces. We're not going to be perfect all the time. We are human. We get upset, we get angry, but we have to remember that we can't stay in that forever. You have to train your brain to think positively. That's the way to get out of that negative thought, because it's all in here, it's all in your mind. So when you're stuck in that negative loop, you have to remember, okay, am I going to take this and turn it into like a negative cycle? Am I just going to stay and lay my bed into this negativeness? Think, how can I change this into something positive? I know it's like easier said than done. It's like, how am I supposed to think positive when I'm upset, when I'm filled with such negative emotions right now, because this is just making me so mad. Like, it's so easy to be negative and to have negative habits, because the negative habits consume of not getting up out of that bed, not going to the gym where you promise yourself to go, not smiling, and just letting my anger take over my whole self. Because love and happiness and living in your bliss is so important when it comes to being positive. And it's like, why would love be so hard to do? Like, why would being happy be so hard? It just is sometimes, because the way the world is, it's like it's so hard sometimes to just even find your purpose, that when you don't, in a time space that seems right to you, it's so easy to just give up on yourself and just fall into this deep hole, because everything is just getting at you and it just seems so hard to get to your goals. Like, you know, it's just so hard. So it's easy to be negative. It's easy to stay in that bed. It's easy not to be nice, because it's like nobody's being nice to you and the world is just beating you up, right? That habit train all started from a negative thought. Crazy, huh? It started from you thinking how bad that was, and the effect just kept going, and it kept going, and it kept going, because sometimes it just gets so hard and you get so low that it's like, how do I get out of this? You have to realize that you are in control. The same way you can think that negative thought is the same way that you can think that positive thought. Yeah, it really is. That is being in control of your mind. Like, you know, you seen that thing where you had like the good angel and then you have the devil on one side in those movies, and then they're trying to tell you, the devil's on one side trying to tell you the bad thing to do, and then the angel's trying to say, no, you don't want to do that, because if you do that, then you're going to end up in some deeper trouble. It's something like that. You have to replace those negative thoughts with a positive one. The same way that your brain could think something negative is the same way that it could think something positive. It's so easy to do the negative stuff. It's so easy to just be on that downward spiral because it takes less of you. Like, you know, the doing is easy, but the reality of it is very harsh, because then you realize, oh my gosh, like I'm not achieving my goals, and that feeling inside feels so bad. It's the opposite when it's the positive. Sometimes that positive that you have to do can be a little time consuming, can be more work, having you to get up, having you to go to that gym, having you to forget those snacks and be healthy, being a people person and smiling and having those good conversations. Maybe a little bit rough. Not everybody can do that. Some people are just an introvert and it's so hard. But at the end of the day, the reality of it, it's more meaningful. It means so much more, because you're going to get that positive outcome out of it, and you're going to feel so much better at the end of the day by telling yourself, let me be positive. I'm in control of this. Let me think of the things that I'm grateful for more than the things that are going so wrong in my life. When you wake up in the morning, you want to remind yourself, this is another day. What am I grateful for today? Simple things like that. You want to start small. You want to just go full force, because then you can just fail at it. You know, sometimes you're beating yourself up too much because you want to do the positive, and when you do it, if it didn't happen in like a day or like a week or a month, you're upset, you're mad, and then whoop, there we go into the negative. You have to give yourself some grace. You have to pick yourself back up when you do get down. You can't stay down forever. You can't stay down for such a long time. Control that and tell yourself, okay, I'm feeling it right now. I'm really feeling like it's such a downward spiral, but I am going to get up and I am going to clean up. That could be the first thing, just to have a clear space, to have a clear mind, and to start fresh. You want to sometimes take baby steps. Time is the master of things, that it's time over everything. There are gonna be times where you do fall into those bad habits and you do fall into a pattern of letting that thought now dictate your life, dictate the way you deal with your friends, dictate the way you cook. Because even when you cook, if you ain't feeling it, the food gonna taste like how you feeling. You know, even with me, if I'm in a bad mood and I'm a cook now, I cook when I cook good, I cook with love. You gonna taste the love in the food. But if I'm not in a good headspace, I feel like my food just be tasting as flat as my feelings. And that's just me. I noticed if I am in a good headspace, them ingredients are popping and the food is busting. But I noticed that when I do get into a negative space, me myself, I'm the only one that's in control of it getting back to where it needs to be. I had to remind myself that, girl, you can't continue this. Because if you continue this is what's going to be like next week. This is what's going to be like this next month. And this is what your year going to look like. I have to tell myself, you know what? You have to pick yourself back up. Today's the last day you're going to do this. And the next time you go outside, you're going to smile. You're going to make somebody's day. Okay? One thing I notice is that sometimes I go out with my daughter and she'll do, she can even hear her now. She'll do like the most beautiful things, and she will see somebody out on the road, would be like in the store, for a Dollar Tree or Walmart or just somewhere. the way she brightens up people's day is just something else. She'll see somebody and be like, I love your hair, or you're so beautiful, or she'll say hi, and they will look at her like, wow, thank you, you've made my day. And sometimes I'm just like, well, I wonder how your day was before she even said that to you. My daughter's little act of kindness had somebody, you know, feeling like just by her saying that, just by her showing them love and making them feel like they were seen, could have just made their whole day, could have just made their whole week. So the pattern, it doesn't just end with you. When you're negative and you're in your negative space and you're just carrying on with those bad habits, and then you go out there into the world and you share those bad habits, the cycle of sadness and loneliness and negativeness just continues on. And then you're spreading it to this person, and they're bringing it home and they're spreading it there, and then they go to another store and they're spreading it there. Now when you've been kind to that person and they left that place, they're gonna remember that and they might spread that somewhere else. And that's why you want to be the good that you see in this world. That's why you want to be positive, because the more you're positive, the more the people around you are positive, and more positiveness we're sending out into the world, into the universe. And we have to be the change that we want to see. So we have to control the way that we think. And yes, things can get hard sometimes. The bills can get rough sometimes. The children can be stressful at times. Money can be tight. Your friends could be leaving you out. But you have to remember that you don't want to let that dictate who you are at the end of the day. You want to be that positive light, because love is major in this world. And the more we could even love ourselves by even telling ourselves that we want to be positive and we want to think positive, then the better we will go through life, the better we will feel about ourselves. Because it's easy to do the negative things. It's easy to stay low. The reality of it is very hard, and it's very harsh. It's very detrimental to outcomes that can happen to you and even your family. As a mom, if you're just stuck in a slump, in a bad headspace, you know, sometimes our children, they could feel it too. And then we're not setting a good example for the kids. Like, they see everything. So we want to control our minds so that we don't ruin our own. You know, going forward, that if you are someone out there and you are just stuck in a headspace that has just been taking over you and it's just left you feeling negative and you're just beating yourself up because it's just so hard to get out of that space, remember that it may not happen overnight, but you are in control of that. You can wake up and you can right now be like, I'm going to change this. I'm going to think positively from now on. I'm going to put a smile on instead of a frown. I am going to interact with people better when I go outside. I am going to be that positive light that I want people to be to me. Because what you give is what you get. You can't be giving badness and expecting goodness to come back to you. This is how it works. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope that you guys took something positive out of it, and I hope to see you in the next one. I'm about to go to my brother's. I baked him some oatmeal raisin cookies. I usually make chocolate chip with some walnuts in it, but his wife is allergic to tree nuts, so I made some with just oatmeal raisin. I make them from scratch. So yeah, I hope he likes them. And the kids want to see their cousin, so yeah, he gonna get his cookies, the kids gonna see their cousin, and we just going to be happy. Okay, so I will see you guys in the next one. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. It's the best way to help out this channel, because we want to spread love with everybody and we want to be here and we're gonna thrive. And yes, a word from your girl Tasha. I hope to see you guys in the next one. I love you guys so much. Bye.